1907, Rudyard Kipling wins the Nobel Prize for Literature. A financial panic hits Wall Street, and an Austrian masterpiece that would be swept up in the Nazis' pillaging of Europe is painted. Art's a symbolic representation of the world around us, and it can transport us to distant places and times.
My journey to discover New York's priceless artifacts brings me here to the Neue Gallery on Fifth Avenue. It's a fresh perspective on art.
The Neue Gallery is a museum devoted entirely to early 20th century Austrian and German art.
The Neue Galerie provides a home for German and Austrian art and design from 1890 to 1940.
It is housed in a mansion that is one of the last survivors of the bygone sumptuous era of the robber barons.
It's one of the great mansions on Fifth Avenue, and it's the typical American traveling to Europe, liking something and saying, I want one of those.
Americans saw themselves as inheriting European Western civilization, and they wanted to recreate it in New York.
Lived in for many years by members of the Vanderbilt family, the mansion eventually housed the YIVO Institute for Jewish Research.
The artwork here at the Neue Gallery is a look back at life as it was lived a century ago, a way of life that was destroyed by Adolf Hitler.
The mansion showcases a world that existed before the Nazis. It offers a striking setting in which to view artwork that evokes the lost world and style of a Viennese family from a century ago.
Vienna was really just a hotbed of intellectual activity and culture and political activity. All of what we think of as Central Europe now was sort of part of this large empire, and Vienna was the center of that.
Here's my secret. This dazzling gold piece was painted in 1907 by Gustav Klimt. The museum bought it for $135 million. That's the highest sum ever paid for a painting.
The portrait of Adele BlochBauer, the wife of a prominent Austrian Jewish industrialist, is considered one of the artist's masterpieces.
Klimt was the leading portrait painter in Austria, and so many people commissioned portraits. And Ferdinand Bloch-Bauer commissioned him twice to do full-length portraits of Adele Bloch-Bauer, and she is, in fact, the only person who sat twice for full-length portraits.
The painting, which took Klimt 3 years to create, shows the sitter posed with a mysterious gaze.
There's a certain Klimt woman that would remind you of Greta Garbo or Marlene Dietrich. They were very svelte women with very pale skin.
Depicted in what is referred to as his golden style, he used actual gold and silver inlay throughout the painting.
She is encrusted or encased in all this gold ornament with many abstract forms, some symbolic forms. They have the Egyptian eye, that is a symbol to protect you from evil spirits. Her initials, which are hidden throughout, the A and the B, and it almost has a certain psychedelic quality.
This painting and these 4 others were the focus of a decades-long legal battle between the Austrian government and the heirs of the Bloch-Bauer family. The works of art were seized by the Nazis during World War II.
Adele BlochBauer died in 1925. When Germany annexed Austria in March 1938, her husband Ferdinand fled to Switzerland.
Really, from one day to the next, for Austrian Jewish families, life completely changed. Very wealthy and prominent Jewish Viennese people like Ferdinand Bloch-Bauer fled immediately. Whatever family members stayed behind were killed.
Forced to leave all of his possessions, Bloch-Bauer had his property confiscated by the Nazi government.
The Nazis took the paintings and, in a brutal twist of fate, used the Bloch-Bauer homes in the final solution.
The house in Vienna during the war was taken over by the German railroad. There were 60,000 Austrian Jews who were killed by the Nazis. All those transports probably went through Ferdinand's home. His home in Czechoslovakia was used as the residence for a guy named Reinhard Heydrich. He's the one who really developed the final solution.
In 1945, during his exile in Switzerland, Ferdinand Bloch-Bauer drafted a new will. In it, he left his stolen possessions to his family.
Ferdinand stipulated in his will that his entire estate would be left to his brother's 3 children.
He found a lawyer in Austria, a man named Dr. Gustav and asked him to start looking for his art collection. Ferdinand died, and then Dr. Rienisch continued to work with Ferdinand's heirs.
Of the three, only the youngest daughter, Maria Altmann, is alive. It is she who pursued the 60-year case against the Austrian government.
It really was a sort of a David and Goliath situation, and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court. Ultimately, the Supreme Court decided 6-3 to allow Maria to go ahead with the lawsuit.
And in January 2006, the painting and 4 other Klimts were awarded to Maria Altmann and other family members.
The restitution of the Klimt paintings to their rightful owners represents the largest single monetary return of Nazi-looted art from Austria.
I think it does give people a sense of satisfaction to see that even at this late stage, 60, 70 years later, that you can have just a little bit of justice.
Is this painting the most valuable thing in New York City? Value can be subjective, and the art market operates to its own logic. But the portrait of Adele can be seen for just what it is, beautiful. My quest to uncover the Big Apple's most valuable secrets ends here on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. This exchange is the backbone of the American economy, and it's what makes New York City the financial capital of the world. My search for New York's most valuable mysteries has shown me one thing. Value is in the eye of the beholder, but knowledge, that's the true treasure. See you on the next Secrets of New York.